Hi, everyone. Welcome to Recorded Vulnerabilities with Varsey. We all have those moments, those dark, sometimes contradictory parts of us that we'd rather run from. And my thought is, what if we hit record instead? So, this is a show where we're going to laugh, cry, and heal together. We will lead ourselves, but in community. So, tap in and let's go. Hey everyone, welcome back to Recorded Vulnerabilities with me, Varsey. And this is where we get into the hard parts of life. So here I am hitting record on all the things. So this session is about consistency consistently. Now, I am grappling with like my definition of consistency because I'm always trying to give myself grace because I tell myself I'm not the most disciplined person. And so, like, what does that look like for me as I'm trying to build a habit or a skill or a muscle, literally? So, that's what I want to kind of talk about with you because I've had different little debates throughout like different circles of my life. And people always like pull up Webster, like it's doing something, every day or the same time. And I'm like, yeah, but like, can we strive to maybe consistently be consistent? So let's talk about what that means for me. So and we all have so many hats and so many things that we juggle. Um, while also, right, we have the things we need to do, but then we also have different inputs every day, right? So we wake up in different moods or things get thrown into our lap that were unexpected. Or we had one big task at work that needed a deadline that needed our energy. And so maybe laundry built up a little bit more. So now we got to add that into our routine on a Saturday that we don't usually do. Like we're trying to life, y'all. And then we're also telling ourselves that every Saturday should look the same or every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday morning should look the same, right? And I'm just trying to create space to say, like, is that true? Like, when I think about consistency consistently, I think about I set my alarm every day at 4 a.m. to go to the gym Monday through Friday, right? To spend time with God for that first hour. And I prepare the night before. Some nights I don't actually prepare the night before because it's summertime now. And so I don't want to go to bed at 9 o'clock when the sun's still out to get up at 4. So what does that look like? Um, do I change my routine or do I force it, right? So this what's coming back up for me too is a little bit of last session when I talked about being in the in between. This feels a little bit like an example, right, of being in the in between. Like how do I, as I'm trying to get to consistency, how am I giving grace for myself for just showing up, right, in this moment? Um and so that's what I want to talk about. That like we there's things in life that we can plan for, but then we also kind of have to plan for the shit that we can't plan for. Like we got to create space for that too cuz it's going to happen. It's going to pop up and we don't know when. Um I literally went to an amazing clarity session called the Magic Hour by my leak. So shout out to my leak. She's amazing. Invested in this with other amazing women. And at the end of it, I got a schedule for myself that really helped me identify my mornings. And like the magic hour is that hour when you pour back into yourself and maybe even connect with spirit, exercise, whatever that means to you. So you're like identifying based on how your particular days are, when's those magic hour moments for you, right? So I have this whole beautiful branded calendar I laid out like bong. I'm gonna eat lunch from 12 to 1:30. I'm gonna eat, I'm gonna walk every day. I blocked the calendar to align with that. Yo, that was like in March. I probably did that like 2 times. Okay. But what it did help with was creating the clarity of like, oh, this is ideally how I want my life to look in this season, knowing that I also, well, now it's summer. When I made that in March, it wasn't summer. I probably need to update this calendar, is what's coming to mind right now. And the point of bringing it up was like, I made this thing at a point in time. I did it for maybe a week, right? I realized there were some kinks and there were some things that weren't realistic, right? One is I'm just not a rigid by the book person. Like I am very actually, even though my controlling parts likes to know all the things, I think that's a conditioning. Like I think that's a trauma response. I think I naturally actually like the gray and the mix. I know I'm totally blowing y'all from the last episode, but like I really like what's coming up for me right now is like, oh, wait a minute. Like, I'm not rigid. I actually don't like to do the same thing every day. I don't like jobs where I know what I'm coming in doing and it's the same thing. I don't like the routine of that. I like when people are consistent. Like, I need that, but I don't necessarily need to wake up at the same time every day, maybe. Or I don't need every weeknight evening to look the same. Um, and I think it's like kind of calibrating what actually needs to be consistent and then what doesn't. And then also knowing that like that can change based on you evolving as a person, the season in life, the season of the year, right? It comes up a lot for me in parenting. So like, for me anyway, I was taught like, okay, kids love routines. They love to know what's coming up next. They even though they might buck the system, they need that to build their confidence. They need to know that blah blah blah. And I will tell y'all straight up, every evening looks different in this house. As much as I try to say, okay, we're gonna do dinner, then homework, then bath time, then this, it does not happen. Those things will get checked off usually. They always eat, y'all. I feed them. We might not always get a bath, right? Like some things get skipped, and they might not all. They usually go to bed on time because that's my mental health, but not always. Especially in the summer, we might have a pool night, and they stay up late because they don't have camp the next morning. Like it's like I have to identify while giving myself grace. Y'all know I'm big on that, especially people that are really hard on themselves, right? What actually needs to be consistent? Why am I telling myself it needs to be consistent, right? Just to make sure it's not a conditioning or like a programming, right? And then where are the moments that I actually can flow or have to flow? I have to embrace the flow, right? Something else that comes up for me is like discipline versus motivation. So the motivation is it feels good, right? Like I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I am loving this show. I feel like we together are building something super beautiful and dope, and I'm so excited to see it in the future, and I'm excited to experience it. But today, I did not feel like recording these episodes, like at all. Did not. But I had already canceled the recording 2 weeks ago, right? But before I canceled it, I made sure business could be handled. I opened up the calendar. I said, da, 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 da. Okay, I actually can cancel today. Let me talk to my producers. I can actually cancel today and know that business will be handled over here, right? So I'm saying it but this time when I felt the same way waking up, I knew I couldn't cancel. I knew that if I canceled, now I'm messing up I'm messing up the boundaries I put in place for myself, right? That the podcast is going to come and be consistent with its release. That I'm going to record when I need to make that happen, right? So my point is like, you kind of have to identify, even when I'm not motivated, do I still need to do this? Like 2 weeks ago, it was a no. This week, it was a absolutely, right? So I need to do whatever it takes to like get it done. And I'll be happy, right? When we stop recording and it's done and I'll say, oh, I'm so grateful for that moment. Bye, y'all. Thank you. I'm done, right? So I think that's important to realize, right? When does business need to be handled and you just need to listen to what you said you wanted to do for yourself? And when are there opportunities that you can flow and be flexible and give yourself grace that like, it's not the day today and it's okay. I was at a cookout because I'm recording this during like, it's festivities. It's Juneteenth slash Independence, July 4th, right? And so I'm at a cookout yesterday and someone's like, I don't have the luxury of just when I don't feel like it, I can just call off work and stay in bed. And I was like, why don't you? And she's like, cuz, like, who does that? You can't just do what you feel like doing, or, you have to do what needs to be done. I was like, well, did it actually need to be done? Like, what was the worst thing that would have happened if you laid in bed and didn't go to work that day? And she was like, because we're so conditioned to be like, well, a good person, a good worker, a strong Black woman, a blah, 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 goes to work, doesn't use their PTO, doesn't take time off. You're a bad bitch and you do everything on your own, like whatever we're telling ourselves. When it's like, no, you actually could, like, you got 50-11 PTO days. Maybe you got to get up, take the kids to work. You can drop them off in Carline in your PJs. You're allowed to do that. You're not getting out grocery shopping in your bonnet. No judgment, but judgment. Okay. So yeah. So I think a lot of it is that. A lot of it is just, we're sitting with ourselves, we're asking questions, and we're saying, how can I give myself grace, handle my business? And when I don't have the motivation, when does the discipline need to kick in? Like, what did you tell yourself you were going to do? The other thought that comes to mind is like the gym, right? Beginning of the year, I went from like 3 days at the gym in the morning to 5 days at the gym every morning, right? And for the most of the time, I'm doing that. And there's sometimes that I don't have the motivation, and I tell myself, okay, if I don't go today, when else could I fill this in? Am I free Saturday morning? All right, no, I gotta get up. And it's like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Like, jump out of bed, go. You don't feel like it. You'll feel great when the class ends. Do what you got to do. And then there's some days where you can actually give yourself the grace to stay in bed. This is my thoughts. I know it's fitness people out there that's like, she got it all wrong. She'll make y'all big. But I'm just telling you, this is what has worked for me as I try to balance what it looks like to listen to my body, do what I said I was going to do for myself, and deal with the reality of life. Because to me, that feels healthy and that feels authentic. Um, and that there's going to be seasons where I'm really good at not being motivated but doing it anyway, and there's going to be moments where maybe you're a little bit sad girl or sad boy, maybe you're a little bit depressive, maybe you need to cuddle and comfort yourself and soothe yourself more, that maybe you're going to have more seasons of just like being posted up watching Love Island for 2 hours, 3 hours at a time. And then there's going to be some times where you ain't turned the TV on in 2 weeks because you outside. So I personally, even though I know I'm going against Webster's dictionary, right? I personally love the ideal of consistency, like consistency consistently. Of like, maybe it's not that I did the thing every day, but I kept it on my goal list. I kept it in my heart. I kept it in my mind. Um, and I did it most of the time, right? And that it's a muscle that I'm flexing, and that eventually maybe I'll get to, the ideal, or maybe that ideal needs to be changed because it really actually wasn't realistic in the first place, right? Or I was comparing myself to someone on social media and saying I needed to do it like this when I wasn't really factoring in what worked for me. I think what I'm saying at the end of the day is I think we get some gold stars for showing up sometimes. And I don't think we give ourselves the credit to that, the fact that we showed up, or really, like, when I'm saying showed up, I'm saying showed up for ourselves, right? That you showed up for yourself, or that you moved through motivation, through the lack of motivation to the discipline. Like giving ourselves credit again for the in between, for the happening. That it doesn't just go from 0 days at the gym to 5 days at the gym, right? That it doesn't go from eating takeout and DoorDash, 4 days a week to zero. That there's a building of a muscle happening, right? And that you're still trying every day. That it's still in your mind to be like, no, don't do it. And some days you're weak, and some days you're not. Like, it's okay. Um, I think that it's a little bit harsh for us to say consistency means every day. Um, when really consistently, I feel like it's an alignment over time. That's what I'm talking about. This alignment over time, that it takes time to fully align to whatever that clearer, more distinct, consistent path looks like for you. It just feels like a deeper listening to ourselves is what's coming up for me right now. And I think with so much happening, at every level of life. It's really important. It's really important for us to know us and to know what works for us and to do what works for us. Like other people can't really truly tell you how to show up for yourself and how to do what you need to do for yourself. You are the only person that can say what things actually need to be consistent and not. Because guess what? As I'm talking, there are personalities that absolutely need to do it 5 days a week, or it'll be 0 days a week. Right? It's you have to tap into that deeper knowing of you. Um, so where are the spaces that we're and listen, some of y'all might I don't even know. Do people even relate to this? Like, is this something that I overthink about? Um, But if so, and you're still here, that means it must relate. What does what are the ways that are hard for you to be consistent? Or better yet, what are the areas that you're telling yourself you need to be consistent in and you're not being consistent in? Like you're telling yourself you need to be consistent somewhere. Where is that? And what does that consistency actually look like? Like what's the bar you're holding yourself to? And then where are you? And then like identify those gaps and like identify the barriers. Like where is it misaligned? So in my brain, it looks like a bar graph, kind of, right? Like a line graph. So if one is you don't do the thing at all, right? You're inconsistent, you done dropped off. And 10 is you're 100% hitting that version of consistency. Like what does that look like? So I'm gonna use the gym example because that's what's top of mind for me is if I'm saying successful consistency is I woke up every day at 4 a.m. and I went to the gym at 5 a.m., right? Monday through Friday. Where are you at? And then one is like 0. I didn't do nothing. I don't even care about it. No, I'm just like, whatever. Where am I actually at on that plot between 1 to 10? Okay, I go to the gym probably 3 to 4 days. So I'm actually really close to that consistency. I'm probably like an 8. But what's getting in the way of getting to that 10? First, is the 10 really working for me? How do I feel at this 8 right now? I actually feel really good about this 8. Do I want to get to the 10? Or am I telling myself that I have this old goal that I still want to meet based on whatever I put it there? But it's like, you know what? I actually feel really good at this 8 and it's not quitting. Maybe, be honest with yourself, right? But maybe you just did a recalibration of like what actually consistency looks like for you and what's working with your lifestyle, instead of beating yourself up for doing amazing work. 3 to 4 days at the gym is a lot when you didn't do it for 5, 10 years, right? Maybe this is where you're at. Maybe the 8 is actually the 10, and the 10 wasn't really realistic for your phase of life. Maybe you work that muscle and you working out for 3, 4 days a week, and 6 months later you're like, "Ooh, I'm a gym girly. I want to go 5 days a week now." Yay! You've arrived in a new season, right? But you were consistently consistent in where you were in that space. So I think identifying that barrier, recalibrating where you are on that line bar, and like making a better decision or a more intentional decision or shifting that decision to align to the reality that you're in. Let's give ourselves some praise. Give ourselves our own praise report. Where do you know you're showing up consistently? Even if other people maybe don't recognize it or know it, right? So for me, the kids may not have a normal routine every night, but I know I consistently show up for them when they have events, when they need to talk, um, when they need just a safe place to be. When they say, Mom, I'm tired. I don't really feel like running errands. Can we just stay home and like get some extra time on the screen? Tapping into their needs. I know I'm consistent with that. So where are you actually consistent? Especially if you can tie it to your values, I want you guys to get that win for yourself. I think the other thing that we're talking about here is flow that I haven't specifically said, right? It's like I'm saying I don't like the rigidity of things because I think I'm more of a flow. I'm for more of like a little hippie kind of, than I actually have been allowed to be. So, where are you forcing instead of flowing? Or another way is, where can you incorporate more flow into your life? Because I think in the flow is where you really find the alignment, and you're more anchored in your path when you allow things to be versus forcing them. So I hope this resonated with you all. This is a thought that has been on my head a lot as I grapple with life and trying to find the harmony and balance in it. So I hope this did something for y'all. And again, I want to say thank you to everyone that watches. I Please leave comment, like wherever you're watching this. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Message me if you also are in need of any clarity, if things are coming up for you and you kind of want help unpacking that. I'm your girl. VarseyLorel.com. Book a clarity session with me, or let's just book a little 20-minute discovery call and talk about where you are and how I might be able to support you reaching your goals and your visions for yourself or your organization. So I thank you all again. Stay vulnerable.